Yo, what is up, guys? Joker bringing you another video for the 3.24 Necropolis League, showcasing the Atlas strategy that made me, I want to say, over 200 divines in a couple of days, right? Because we bought Mage Blood, we bought a 60 div bow, we bought a Calandra's Touch, we bought an Ashes, we bought a Squire. Uh, I mean, is there anything in here that we bought? I don't think so. Yeah, nothing in here. I mean, I bought this cluster, but we're not going to talk about what I paid for that cluster. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, right? So like 120 plus 60 plus 10 plus the yeah, so pretty much 200 divines in the last couple of days. And a quick TLDR, you are going to want to have quite a strong character for this, or at the very least, a headhunter, right? At the very minimum, that is the barrier of entry. I'm sorry. But honestly, headhunter is only 15 divs, so it's really not that much. Main reason why I say that you're going to want to have a headhunter is because this is what the maps look like, right? Where it's 123% more monster life, 1000% crit, 128% crit multi, additional proj. You can't regen life, right? And then I have another example right here, right? Where in this one in particular, I had no aura effect and 70% reduced accuracy. If I was a spell build, I would have been extra fucked. And they had 252% physical damage as extra lightning, right? So you want to have a headhunter because you will die. Like I have a mage blood, right? I have 31k evasion, I have 80 res, and honestly, that's it. But I am curse and ailment immune as well. So this is pretty much what they are hitting through, and I still die literally all the time. I mean, I know I could have more defenses. I could take off Defiance banner and probably put in like corrupted blood. I mean, petrified blood, and have a like much higher EHP pool. But whatever, we're not going to do that. But yeah, let's go over the strategy now. So what are we doing? We are pretty much as we can, out can go. I'm not even joking. We're putting in two divination scarabs. We're putting in a Cardo scarab with of corruption, which gives us 8 modded maps, and then we're putting in some good old haunted traders. All of these scarabs are pretty much 100 to 1 divine, right? So like if we go ahead, 120 to 1, 92 to 1, and 95 to 1, right? So literally no investment there. We're not using the map device. So you can juice this more. I'm not, because like I said, I keep dying. And if you die in these super juicy maps, you just waste them. So what we're doing is we're taking all of the map modifiers, right? And all of the explicit modifiers to juice the maps. We're taking altars. We're taking singular focus so we can target farm the maps we want. And we have 100% deli. That's pretty much it, right? So quick recap. We have scarabs, explicit, deli, map, league mechanic, deli, league mechanic, deli, scarab, explicit, 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 scarab, scarab, explicit, and then altars, right? So we are juicing the shit out of our maps. And that is why I have Magic Find on my character. Because with maps this juicy, you want to go ahead and try to benefit as much as possible. Because this modifier right here, where it says 840% increased rarity, that has a counterpart that is 860% quantity, right? So that means that sometimes packs of mobs just vomit out ungodly amounts of loot. Now, for this strategy, besides the headhunter, you're going to want to make sure that you're ailment immune, because especially if you are doing anything like freeze or shock, because you will pretty much PK yourself if you pick up the altar that reflects them to you, right? But yeah, that's pretty much the strategy. We have 100% deli, so we always have a deli mirror for the extra mobs, and then we're pretty much just farming divination cards. And the cards we're going for are mainly the fuck, I forgot. The Fortunate. That's what it's called. The Fortunate. But then we're also going for some big ticket items, right? So we're in Cemetery right now because Cemetery drops the Brother's Gift. But we also have Burial Chambers, Crimson Temple, Dunes, Jungle Valley, Defiled Cathedral. That way I don't get bored in the map that I'm running. And I am able to go ahead and like keep it constantly swapping, right? So on one of my last videos, there was a mention of no showcase, right? When I was using the Ellie Hit of the Spectrum prior, and I kind of mentioned that it wasn't very friendly to people's eyes, right? I had no problem showcasing the tornado shot character because it was the black MTX. It was not a problem. Like you had no issue. But this, in my opinion, is not really good for people's eyes. So that's why I try to explain the method better than like with the map showcase. So in this case, we're actually getting a relatively bad map because, oh God, because we have gotten a couple of maps, but we really haven't had any drop. Oh, cool. Natural affinity. I am doing something right now, so I will sell that later. But yeah, and that's essentially what we do. And this is how you're going to want to clear the maps as well. That's why I'm kind of showcasing it like this, is because you're going to want to make sure everything is dead before you start looting, because once you stop moving and you start actually looting, the chance that you're going to die is going to be quite up there. Okay, that should be enough clearing. Majority of stuff should be dead. But yeah, that's pretty much what the maps look like and on average. And as you can see, even though we did get relatively unlucky, we did sustain and we got several. We did sustain and we got several 8 modded maps. And that's essentially the strategy. And we're farming for divination cards, like I mentioned. And since we have very little to no investment and we're infinitely sustaining on the maps by like 6, 7, 8 times over, you could technically only choose one map and then go ahead and sell 8 modded maps, right? Like sell 8 modded Crimson Temple in bulk and stuff like that. But you really don't have to, because you're going to be able to go ahead and just save them up and have a huge pool. Like I would have to sell here pretty soon because I have a lot of Crimson Temple and a lot of Defiled Cathedral that I either need to start running or just sell in bulk. But yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, and all of those are 8 modded too, huh? That's funny. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the strategy. I'm I'm gonna go run a handful of maps and I'll be back with the profit. Talk about the league being pay to win. I just had to go ahead and buy another quad tab because I'm literally like all of my quad tabs are full with either all flames or corpses. I'm gonna have to dump after this. Like I feel like I'm just gonna throw away majority of my corpses because at this point I'm lazy. I'm not gonna use them and I don't see very many people selling them. I have much better currency methods. But yeah, without further ado, let's actually get into the strategy. Okay, so we just finished 20 maps, right? And if we go ahead and we pull over the We pull over the wealthy exile, you'll see that it says we made 11 div and it shows it in a breakdown, right? So in 20 maps, it's saying that we made 11 div. Now, you can say, oh, well, this isn't liquid. Oh, well, let's not. You won't get there 14 fortunates in 20 maps. My counter argument for that would be that I got extremely unlucky. I was only running the maps that I self-sustained. So anytime that a canyon or a jungle valley or an atoll came up, I would definitely prioritize them, but the other part of the time, I was just running any of the 8 mod maps that dropped. And we still over sustained by quite a bit. These aren't my favorite maps, but I'd say 7 out of the 20 maps ended up having to be either defiled cathedral or crimson temple, which to get a lot of profit out of those, you are going to have to run a very large amount of them. Apart from that, apart from that, you can set your atlas to just be like Jungle Valley, Canyon, Atoll, right? All of the maps that drop the fortunate card, because this translates directly into the vines. I don't have to sell these. But let's take the argument into consideration that I'm using Magic Find, right? And on average, with 50% quantity, I get 30% more loot. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a bunch of this stuff out. Um, you know what? Fuck it. We'll be generous and say there, right? Let's say that that is it. Let's go ahead and refresh and get Wealthy Exile, right? Even with us taking away that much loot, we're still breaking a 6.5 div threshold. And you have to remember, all we used for these maps was a set of scarabs like this, which all are less than 2C each. So it was pretty much, let's highball and say 100C. We made 6.5 div. Even if we just take into consideration the fortunates and nothing else, we could have even dropped 3 less fortunates and still made profit with this strategy. So you will get a lot of raw currency from this. I say use Magic Find because this league, with things like Back to the Basics and with things like this Atlas, Magic Find does get a big boost, right? Because there's those mobs that have the 860% increased quantity. On top of that, there is omens for items. What is it? Wildwood, right? These modifiers are are juiced with the spirits. So you could throw these on that like 860 quantity monster and use your magic find and get probably a ridiculous amount of loot. Reason why I'm not doing that is one, I haven't tested it. Two, these mobs are ridiculously strong because they are juiced. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to go ahead and show you guys another strategy. Like I said, even if I go bare minimum, take out majority of the profit, there's no way that we can really get down to the ADC that it's going to cost you per map. And if you use any kind of additional juice, then you're just going to make infinitely more profit. If you get lucky, if you get better map modifiers, right? I wasn't even organizing mine. If you take the time to take a look and organize it, if you use all flames, if you do anything else, then you're going to be making 3, 4, 5 times the profit. And since it is such a low investment barrier to entry, but the returns are so high. That's why I just wanted to go ahead and get it out there. So potentially you could farm up your Mage Blood or your Headhunter or your T17 character, right? Because with this strategy, you're going to be able to, no problem. And these scarabs are so cheap that there's no way that even if 100 million people pick up the strategy, which there's only like 70K currently playing, um, even if a shit ton of people pick up the strategy, these aren't going to change in price, right? Like if we go ahead and take a look, there is 859 people selling these for divines. There's 600 people selling these. There's 1,400 people selling these. So, like, no, you're good. It would have to take literally like everybody starting this strategy to make it unviable. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this and future content. And until next time, take care.